Barely 2 weeks after a failed bomb attempt in Times Square, the Obama administration has slashed New York City's security funding by some $53 million, a move our next guest calls dangerous. Peter Keene is a Republican congressman from New York, and he joins us now. Good morning to you, Congressman.
Good morning, Gretchen.
All right, so immediately after we were reporting these numbers, this 47 to 53 million slashing from Homeland Security for New York City for ports and transit yesterday, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, came out right away and responded to your claim saying this: if Congressman Peter Keene is really worried about security funding for New York, he shouldn't have voted against the Recovery Act, the stimulus, which provided $100 million in federal funding for the city to protect its ports and transit lines. I know you voted against the stimulus plan, but do you agree with their assessment that that meant you took money away from New York?
Absolutely not. And first of all, Gretchen, it's disgraceful that the Democrats are using a political wing to deal with a Homeland Security issue. It shows how they are trying to politicize this issue, which is a matter of life and death for New York. And what they are saying is that they wanted to hold New York City hostage to getting its Homeland Security funding unless someone like myself voted for the stimulus bill. Whatever New York gets for Homeland Security funding is money it needs and it has to have. It should not be held hostage to a stimulus bill. And if the president did not believe that New York deserved the Homeland Security funding, it shouldn't have gotten it. It should not have depended on how somebody voted on a stimulus bill. So that's just political blackmail, and it shows how they're turning this all into a political issue when it should not be. It should not be partisan at all. When I thought President Bush was wrong, I criticized him. President Obama is wrong on this, and they're trying to cover it up.
All right, so immediately you wanted to meet with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Napolitano. I understand you had that meeting yesterday. What happened?
Yes, actually, the meeting had been pre-scheduled. It was a regularly scheduled meeting we had. And when I went in there, she basically said that the reason the money wasn't there was because, this was a different argument, that Congress hadn't appropriated enough money. Well, actually, Congress had, a Democratic Congress, by the way, had appropriated even more money than President Obama wanted. And yet, President Obama still did not send the money that New York needed. So, again, they have a mixed message. You have the Secretary and the Department saying there wasn't enough money there. And then you have the White House or the Democratic National Committee saying that I was somehow against it because I didn't vote for their stimulus bill. So they should just treat this as the life and death issue it is and forget the politics.
All right. Another message coming from the Attorney General yesterday, Eric Holder, when he was questioned about radical Islam and that role in terror. Listen to this.
But was radical Islam one of them?
There are a variety of reasons why people do these things. Some of them are potentially religious-based.
Okay, but all I'm asking is if you think among those variety of reasons, radical Islam might have been one of the reasons that the individuals took the steps that they did.
We see radical Islam. I mean, I think those people who espouse a version of Islam that is not...
Are you uncomfortable attributing any of their actions to radical Islam? It sounds like
No, I don't want to say anything negative about a religion that is not appropriate.
I'm not talking about a religion.
Like
I'm talking about radical Islam.
And we thought that there had been a 180-degree turn. Congressman?
Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. This is an Attorney General who doesn't get it. I mean, earlier in the week he was saying he was going to consider changing the Miranda warnings, which I think he certainly should, and he should be very drastic on that. But an Attorney General who 8.5 years after September 11th does not realize that our enemy is radical Islam is either so politically correct or so out of touch that he doesn't deserve to be Attorney General. I mean, this is why he wants to have the 9/11 trial, the trial of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Lower Manhattan. He just does not get it, and he's afraid to stand up and say that our enemy today is radical Islam. It's the enemy overseas, it's the enemy here at home, and he has to realize that. If not, he's putting all Americans in danger.
All right, another very hot topic is the fact that some people want to build this mosque now right at the same site as where the World Trade Center towers fell down. So many people outraged by this. They say it's a slap in the face. Where do you come in on this?
Yeah, I believe it is very offensive and it's wrong. I don't believe that legally it can be stopped, however, because of the First Amendment. But having said that, you know, the mosque will be there. It will be within walking distance of where so many Americans were killed by radical Muslims. And obviously, we cannot blame all of Islam for what a handful of terrorists did. What bothers me, though, is since then that so many Muslim leaders have failed to speak out against radical Islam, against the attacks. We had mosques here on Long Island who are actually blaming the attacks on the Jews, the CIA, and the FBI. So that's why this is particularly offensive.
And we should mention that we have had on at least one Muslim community in the last week who is speaking out and hoping that others do. Congressman Peter King, always great to get your thoughts. Thanks for being our guest.
Gretchen, thank you.